All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 110. The finale.
The last episode of Legend, y'all. Wow.
After today, Caleb, we will have ascended to a whole new level of anime fan because we will be able to say that we have actually watched The Legend of the Galactic Heroes in its entirety.
Yep. Nope. No one can argue with our opinions about anything. Right? That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. Like apparently, if your numbers on certain sites are big enough, then you know, and you watch it, you're a Giga Chat.
I'm just still optimistically and maybe naively hoping that Reinhardt's not actually gonna die. Like,
I mean, you might get exactly what you want.
Like that he'll die of old age.
Time skip. Reinhardt death. And
even down to the Oberstein and Bittenfeld conversation.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see what this new bright future for humanity potentially looks like. Is there a way that we can break the cycle? Have we actually crested over the horizon?
Yep.
And will we see
a brighter tomorrow?
Yeah. Will we see anything with our little baby boy, Prince Alexander Siegfried von Lohengram, grown up and as a strapping young man?
That would be so wonderful. That would be so wonderful.
And then by that point, it's like, no, you do not inherit the empire because we are not an autocracy anymore. We are actually something where you can then run for, prime minister or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
We'll see. But y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. And he's gone.
All right.
The show is over.
Yep. Okay.
I think that was the perfect way to end it.
Oh, yeah.
Not having any kind of time skips. Let's keep it here in the now. Let's have it focused on the goodbyes and,
and that hope for the future.
That little scene with the two kids and then Mittermeier and his wife and son. That was really strong. And then that's not at all to say that like they cleaned up house here. They sent Reinhard, Oberstein, and fucking Deville on the same night, on the same thing. And of course it went in the right order here. Deville, get his bitch ass out of here first. He gets quadruple tapped, quintuple tapped by Julian.
Yeah, and yes, because Yang is now avenged. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I like in some ways that the death of the boy basically was this kind of act of murder here, and where he's just like, no, I'm executing you.
Julian is not going to be leading the next era, right? Yeah. And
that's kind of important.
And you're right, for good reason, right?
He's a soldier.
He's a soldier. It's going to be something completely new, you know. And okay. All right.
I really loved the power of that scene. That was really strong.
Was
but
awesome.
The idea that Oberstein, who had the audacity to use the Kaiser as bait, was actually manipulating the whole situation so that if anything really bad happened, it would all fall on him.
Right.
He was truly a loyal dog to the end. Just a faithful servant who loved his master tremendously and would not want anything bad to happen to him. And in his final moments, he's thinking about his butler and his dog. Right. It's truly sad because the man was actually alone. The man was actually alone. He died with no one really knowing how much he had done to bring them to this point. And even if people find out, it'll probably go mostly thankless.
Right. It
was just a really powerful way to have his character go out in this way. Given that he was kind of a shitty person in a lot of ways too. Like there's a lot of things that are warranted to not like about Oberstein here,
and I would say in a similar way that it's important that Julian isn't going to be leading the remnants of democracy. I would say it's very important that Oberstein does not exist in this next chapter, this next era, right? No. Because the things that he did were effective,
were ruthless,
and ruthless, and that's not needed anymore.
No,
it's not. Like
not.
Even him dying is. Oh yeah. I think he knew that. I think it. If he hadn't died here, he probably would have ended up stepping down in some manner, right? Like okay, if you need me, I'm here, but
But I'm going to disband most everything that I've built.
Right, exactly.
It's not.
I'll take a backseat role,
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case as well. But I think also he set it up in such a way that he would actually end up taking the full brunt of this, and probably tactically or strategically decided to act in such a way that he maybe looked like the Kaiser a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Like putting himself lying in bed, not being at attention during the raid and what have you.
Well, and since they would be like, because with the Church of Terra, right?
Yeah,
they have survived this long because they've figured out how to get around the defenses and the preventative measures that the Empire puts up, right?
Yeah.
If he were to give them a random room, they'd probably see through it.
Or at the very least, they would investigate that room and then realize we've been duped.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they might find the Kaiser's room.
If it's actually a room that has one of the 3 highest ranking officials in the Empire, right? That they'll be able to tell that, okay, yeah, this is a VIP room,
True.
Even if it's not like the Kaiser's room.
No, I'm with you. I'm saying that he absolutely could have set up the trap to where he went full on Emperor Palpatine. He's like, an entire legion of my best troops awaits them. And it would have been a thing where I think that it would have maybe been a little bit riskier because maybe in their desperation they would have realized, oh shit, now we'll just try and just destroy the building, not try and get as specific to this spot.
Right,
here. And there was a non-zero chance basically that they would hit the Kaiser's room out of pure luck.
Sure, or they see what's going on and they're like, they're too prepared. Yep. Let's strike another time.
Yeah, right. Both of those are very,
you wanted it to be
likely.
Enticing enough that they get fully drawn in.
Yeah.
And
even
the whole
DeVille showed up.
Oh yeah, even DeVille showed up.
Everybody,
right? Like DeVille doesn't even believe in what he's doing. Like he's like he's not a fanatic about it, right? He's doing it for personal gain. So the fact that he showed up is impressive. But like, I love the lie that Oberstein circulated, not just about the room, but once the Kaiser recovers, he will destroy Terra.
He will literally destroy the planet.
Yeah, like that's
the best way to do it.
Yep.
Yeah,
they have to. You know, like. They have to do something, right?
Yeah, and then if they kill the Kaiser before he does this, then it's the perfect recruiting tool for them to be like, we saved Terra from the wrath of a
suddenly
stupid
everyone
young
who
Kaiser.
lives on Terra will be indebted to them and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But
holy shit.
I loved that as a way to basically bring in that extra little bit of action, So there's still some tense moments and things like that.
Right.
But when it came right down to it, it was about the conversations.
It was about the conversations. Yeah.
And I just like ending a series that's this big and grand. Yeah, exactly. Not just the fact that it's gone on for a long time, but the grand in scope and themes that it covers and things like that.
Human nature, politics, the cycle of violence,
even
war.
Ending it in a way that would be mediocre is a feat.
Yes.
Right? Like that's a lot of times I feel like, because endings can be so important, it can be easy to be like, oh no, for this amazing show, the ending didn't absolutely blow my socks off. No. An ending that doesn't, shit the bed, right, for something this big, that's huge, right? But this ending was beautiful. It was beautiful. Like there were so many things that surprised me in like details of like, oh, I didn't necessarily expect for the Kaiser to have Mittermeier's family brought, to him, right? I was like, oh, that's new, right? And yet once I see it start to unfold, I'm like, of of course.
Yeah, that
right?
totally makes sense.
Like for so many different reasons, not just to take care of his son so he has a friend, right? But also addressing the whole thing in front of all of his retainers of the potential issue of this person is by blood tied to the old Golden Bomb dynasty.
Yeah.
Right? Nope, not a problem.
Not a problem at all.
Not a problem at all, right?
Not at all.
I
Yeah.
this episode was incredible. Like
Yeah. I really love the way in which that scene played out with the two kids. Like that scene carries so much weight to it that's like right underneath the surface, because you have Alex, the younger one of the two, definitely, very much going to be bearing the immediate potential burden of being raised underneath the shadow of your dead
Reinhardt.
father, who was the one that united the galaxy in 2 years. So that in of itself, even if he doesn't really feel that until he's like 9 or 10 or something like that, that's still only, only recently that the whole galaxy's, structure was
uprooted and reset.
Gigantic upheaval. Now, of course, Mariendorf, she is actually going to be running the empire for the majority of this kid's life as a kid,
Right.
Of course. But the idea that in the course of that time, there's a possibility that, she might decide, let's actually take some of their ideas and start implementing them.
And also, you don't need to rule this, right? That was one of, of the things that Reinhardt said in his final moments. I loved the implications of them and showing that he was still leading even at the very end, right? Yeah, this boy doesn't need to. If he does rise to the occasion, awesome. If he is capable of that, fantastic. But if he doesn't, that's okay, right? Yeah. Because we don't want to force that kind of succession, right? And I can imagine that is going to be a load off of this kid's shoulders.
Yeah, and then like you said, the idea that he was then embracing and being friends basically with the kid who has the bloodline of Golden Bomb.
Yep.
Going through him there. And it's no. Mittermeier, this is not about him needing to pledge loyalty.
No.
This is about basically thinking about the future, that we can hold those who we previously, looked at as enemies as friends.
But then it's also this thing of Reinhardt basically setting up his son to have hopefully his own Kirchheis, right? And it's also a way that both Mittermeier and Ruenthal will be able to be there basically for Reinhardt's child. Yeah. Right? There's so many there are so many reasons why I loved this episode. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. The tense buildup of the narrator kind of giving us all these little subtle cues that something was coming.
What's the time to travel from all the places?
Stuff. And I was like, stop doing this. And then we ended up getting this little climax conclusion here. I really loved that this was something that we were able to be almost in some ways completely chill about, in the way that it was played off as like, Julian, Attenborough, and Poplin are like, sure. Of course, we'll team up with the Galactic Empire.
But a hell of a thing to think about that we're teaming up with the Empire to save the Kaiser.
Yeah.
Shit.
We really should thank the Church of Terra. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Whoever would have thought that these words would be leaving our mouths.
Right.
But
yeah, and it's really strong. So getting closure on the immediate conflict of basically saying that the insanity, if you will, of humanity was dealt with. Now, while the philosophical debate or the political debate as to which form of government, deserves to, fall, into the not fall, but continue forth into the future at the front. they're both going to be there.
Right.
Now, democracy was relegated to a small little system, region, which is like, okay, yeah, that's something. And the Galactic Empire won the war.
Yep.
But we're not done. Humanity didn't lose here. Like,
right.
If anything, there's something beautiful about the idea that in every age, in every time, the deeds of men remain the same, except
But that can be a good thing too.
That can be a good thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a doomed thing, in that the war will always return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's aspects of that can be a good thing. Each one of these people, their own legendary acts kind of make that apparent when, Julian was making his little connection to all those people that were instrumental in history to bringing us to this point.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and like when Julian was saying, I'm a soldier, I will continue to fight against autocratic rule.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't talking about fighting the empire and, and literally continuing to be a soldier, and starting to war up again. No. It's a metaphorical fight, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to continue to happen, in the same way that Deville was like, you think I'm the Church of Terror, the only ones that want the Kaiser gone?
Right.
No, there's plenty more. I could have given you information on those, but I guess I'm dying, right? It will continue.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You're nothing special with your information here, Deville. There's no member of the admirals that is trying to do this here. No, Oberstein is not secretly against the Kaiser.
No.
Stupid Bittenfeld.
Right.
No. Emil is not secretly poisoning the
That one they could have done.
No. I really am glad they didn't do that. That was a stupid theory, and I'm upset I even thought about it. But like the fact that yes, of course there are. We're not stupid here.
If there wasn't, then there would be no point to the victory, right?
Right.
Like,
but no, you were the only one that was worth bringing out here and getting gunned down in the rain and forgotten and put into unmarked graves.
Right.
So yeah, get fucked, Deville. Yeah,
yep.
I feel like
that was very satisfying.
Very satisfying. Yeah.
Yep. But oh boy.
Yeah. Okay.
The show's over.
We finished it.
Yeah. Like
I love the little moment with Julian kind of saying like to himself, I'm going to be a historian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take up Yang's mantle. And now I understand why he's doing this, but I honestly think that if there's any part of him that's doing this specifically just because Yang's work and everything that they've done, these kinds of things should be passed on. I don't know if he should necessarily change his entire life, around to support that. But if he needs to find a role in peacetime, and this is the only one that he really saw done in a really, strong way, like then I respect the decision.
Yeah.
I think that there were others of the Yang gang that are maybe a little bit more suited for peacetime even than Julian.
Oh, sure.
Like Attenborough or Kazern.
Attenborough and Kazern are going to do great.
But yeah, Poplin saying goodbye of no, I don't know how I'm gonna do in peacetime. This should be interesting.
Right. Like, maybe I'll become a space pirate.
And it's like, Poplin, come on, don't joke about that.
Right.
It's like don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm. But also, I can't basically be around you guys. I can't remember and be living around the times that we had when I know that those times are now gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he'll be okay. He'll find his own crazy way.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Ladies of Fejan.
I swear to God, if you go after Anna Rose, I fucking.
Oh my God!
I literally thought that when he saw Anna Rose up there, he was gonna make some chauvinistic comment about how he's like, damn. So when the Kaiser's gone, she'll need a big, strong man in her life or something.
Oh my God!
I mean, that's kind of who he is, and I was like, okay,
no, see,
good. He didn't say anything.
It's actually going to be like. Well, no, it wouldn't be any of the admirals. They wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But I was trying to think, like, what if the admirals would actually be a good match? And I was like, maybe Mecklinger? No. But Yeah.
But yeah, 0 out of 10 finale. We didn't have Admiral in the episode, so yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Absolutely abysmal.
Right. The Admiralty was brought together, and it didn't include the cat.
Include the cat.
What's going on?
What
does the galaxy come to?
What does the galaxy come to?
But can you imagine, now that we've finished this show, rewatching the first episode? Or technically, I guess we didn't watch the first 2 episodes because we did the movies. But in
a lot of ways, I feel like rewatching the movie would be really powerful because of the way it ends. But I think what would be even more powerful is rewatching the stuff with Reinhardt and Kierheis as kids.
Yeah.
And they're like looking out the
Reinhardt doing
stars.
handstands on the grass. Yeah.
I don't know if I could watch that without like weeping. Like
that's
that would be so much. But just thinking about Yeah. But okay. Yeah, I loved the narrator this episode. I loved the voice acting from Reinhardt.
Yes.
Reinhardt's voice acting was so soft and quiet and weak and the way he's basically just saying, "My Kaiserin, I wish for nothing more than for things to go the way that you wish. And, please, just if you choose, constitutionalism, just, make sure that, it's something that we have someone who's going to usher us through it that deserves to do that."
Yeah.
Now it's really fun in that the Kaiser never really relented entirely to the idea that what Julian was bringing to the table was the right way to do things.
Right, because he's thinking of Trunit, who was also pushing for the same thing,
exactly. I loved that sick little reveal of you know what Trunit was trying to do ultimately? The same thing that you were, Julian.
Because that's the environment he thrives in.
Now, that's exactly it. The reason why he was doing that wasn't necessarily some noble goal.
Nope.
But it's the idea, Julian, that just because a form of government can work really well, all it takes is for one or more corrupt, just amoral
cockroach
people
to get in there and
to just get in there and bungle it all up. So Reinhardt's right in that you do need to have it be something that is earned, something that is that is actually deserving of whoever's leading it, whatever group of people or not.
And because he's now because he did all of the heavy lifting of getting it to this place, everyone else can just spend, their time as custodians and really dedicating themselves to figuring out how do we keep this.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, if you're even the remotest, slightest bit not a 100% optimist, you know that in 200 years this will not exist, basically.
No.
Like in 5 generations, the effects of this will be mostly altered in an irrevocable way.
Yep.
Now, I think that in a lot of ways, it could last a very long time. It could last maybe it could even last and break the odds, and it could last for 500 years.
Right, and 500 years later, we start a new show at the same place that this one did. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say? But the idea that maybe for this generation, at the very least, for Alex and for Julian and Kataros and all these little young ones here, maybe they can reach for the stars and they don't have to worry about us constantly killing each other. The millions.
Oh man, the kid reaching for the stars that
I know.
That just broke me.
It's a classic thing to have in anime specifically, but it's something that's so precious because it's Mittermeier, one of probably the most wholesome good boys of the Empire, in that in a lot of ways he was instrumental in moving things in this direction. He was one of the OG 4,
Right.
The
only one that's still around.
But he is actually the only one that survived. So there's this chilling aspect of where he's, in his late 20s or something, and he survived.
Right.
And he already kind of feels like an old man, basically, looking at his son and being like, "Will you go up there alone?
Right.
Will I have to say goodbye to you too?"
Yeah,
And it's just like, oh man.
And I think one of the most precious things about Mittermeier is not just the fact that he survived, like he is alive, but the fact that the person that he is survived.
Yes.
Amidst everything that happened. Just being a soldier and having that part of you survive is a no small feat, right?
Yeah.
But I would love to see more of this show, of the next generation, the next era. You know, I'm very glad that we're not, right? Because it's, you know, we don't see, Reinhardt doesn't get to finish his last words, right?
Right.
If we seize peace, then it's up for them to decide, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, what do you think of his last words, though? His very final words.
If we seize peace, then we'll
seize space. He said, seize space.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll show you here. It's right about here. Once we see space, we'll all...
Oh, yeah. Maybe
I think that was a callback to a
conversation with Keir Heiss. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whether that's because, he, thematically, he doesn't finish the line because we can know what it is, or if it's because he's actually changed the person. He's not the same person he was back then, you know? And maybe that's
a slight difference. Instead of once you see space, we'll, like you and I, it's we'll all.
Oh, sure.
And it's the idea that he's now thinking about
the humanity as a whole. Yeah. Because I love what Mariendorf said in that, the illness didn't kill him, right?
He burned his last bit of wax.
Right, exactly.
All the way to the wick at the end.
He put everything that he was into doing what he did.
In the last few years.
Yep, and once that's done, he doesn't have anything left to give. That's it. Right?
Yeah. Oh. I mean, it's an incredible show. It's an incredible look at something where you take a system of government that is typically looked at, I would say more nowadays, as being something that is has very, very little redeeming qualities, you know?
Yeah.
It needs to be handled perfectly in order to have any redeeming qualities.
Right.
But the stage was set for something new. There was a lot of blood, a lot of death that brought humanity to this place.
Yep.
And I don't think the show is trying to make some grand point about how there's something that we're supposed to take from this to the real world in a whole, like, out of context bit here.
Sure.
But the idea that these characters who brought humanity to this point in this fictional story are legends. They all did incredible parts to make this happen.
Yeah.
Even, from Shunkhoff dying on the stairs,
right?
Sitting up.
Yeah.
And no one being, having the balls to go up there to
check
stop
if he's
him,
actually dead,
so that Julian can then make it to Reinhardt, so that Reinhardt can see that the flames of democracy and all that haven't gone out because one bleeding out, dying young man made it here,
and that they truly believe in it enough to do all of this, right?
To also not let go of it as well.
Right, exactly.
War.
It wasn't some casual thing of just we're on this side of space, so therefore we don't like you.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot more to it than that.
Yeah, and then as well, all those on the side of the Empire. We have Oberstein here, someone who did the most reprehensible things, probably.
Sure.
I mean, unless you want to go objective and be like, well, Reinhardt might actually be the biggest butcher, if you will. Then.
Sure.
But
Oberstein
was the one that took no glory from it, the one that basically had no love, basically, from any of his colleagues or
he interfered to make sure that Reinhardt would show up too late to stop the nukes.
I'm going all the way back to, as mentioned here in this episode, Anaros. If it wasn't for Anaros, none of this would have happened.
Yep.
I love the feeling you get when you look back, and you can even do this with your own life. When you look back at your own life and you realize that you did make a lot of choices that brought you to this point, but because of things in your environment that you had no control over, those were really the only choices you could have made at those key moments that brought you to where you are right now.
Yep.
And that's chilling. It's actually sometimes haunting.
Oh,
but
yeah.
on another context, it can be one of the most beautiful things because you realize, wow, my life is not my own. But not only that, everything that happened here could have gone extremely different if one little thing was changed.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that makes me like that from stories like this that make me the most hopeful for humanity as a whole.
Oh, sure.
Is that a lot of the things that helped make sure that this was able to happen were not done with good intentions. They were in fact done from people who unwittingly, while doing things that were despicable, it actually allowed for other people to turn it into something that brought about some good.
Interesting. So basically, you're saying that it's an optimistic view because of the idea that where most people in terms of humanity as a whole don't have the best intentions for the things that they do.
Exactly.
Meaning that intentions don't really matter.
Right. You don't need to have a bunch of people who are perfectly trying to, make something wonderful happen. In certain instances and stuff, that is definitely helpful.
I get what you're coming from. Yeah.
But the father that sold Anna Rose to the Kaiser, right? The Kaiser who said, I will take that family's daughter, right?
The obvious thing that is good to address here is that this is fiction, therefore the story needs to have a dramatic build up and stuff. So obviously this is something that you're keeping in mind with the context here. But I get what you're saying. The idea that human beings in general, we tend to bungle shit up quite a bit.
Right.
And as long as, our existence keeps on going, short of, just actual extinction, we do learn. We do learn a little bit. Yeah. Maybe we learn a bit too slow, though. Maybe there are times when we don't pick up things as much as we could. Maybe there are times where we make the same mistakes over and over again. But yeah, when looked at through the lens of history, if you will, yeah. I would say in general, there's a lot of things that you can get excited about the future of humanity, and maybe that's another thing that's rather good as this show's kind of main themes with the idea of history, and that the legend ends, history begins, basically at the end. The idea that a lot of people I think don't really look at history with much fondness because there's this idea of, oh wow, I get to go back and look and see how shitty humanity has been over the years, and it's like, yes, yeah,
yep,
and look at the way maybe some of those things don't happen as often anymore, or look at the way some of those things have lessened, or not necessarily lessened, but they've lessened the severity of it, and there's a lot of things that I would say that, I'm typically, I would say, an optimist in general. I would say I skew a little bit towards optimist more than pessimist. If you had to line it up in a hard data sense.
Sure.
But I think that that's one of the things that we as human beings could do a little bit to for our own individual benefits, is look at history through the lens of the way things have changed for the better, and then maybe that's the kind of thing that if we're willing to echo it, humanity as a whole will realize the times where we did kind of learn our lesson. Because I think a lot of people have an overwhelming sense, basically, of dread with regards to humanity and the ways in which we don't learn, and we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And while in fiction it is wonderful to kind of get lost in the fantasy of humanity figuring things out.
Right, the triumph in the catharsis and all that.
There's also the way in which we are unintentionally kind of glorifying the absolute butchery that this show kind of basically took us through to say that, yes, these people are legends, But that doesn't mean necessarily that they, provide some perfect template.
No.
Reinhardt is not a golden god.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, he might have an essence of being something that is golden and
sure.
and brilliant and radiant.
Yep.
But
right.
But yeah.
In 100 years, a lot of people will probably be like, yeah, no, Reinhardt was pretty awful. Like,
who's to say? Yeah, like, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of those stories that I think will go down in history as being one of the special stories of our.
Oh yeah, the fact that it stood the test of time, just up till now, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna continue doing that.
Like I will die probably, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes will still be a legendary property of storytelling.
Damn,
think about
that would be crazy to think about. Yeah, because
anime is super young. Like if you think about it in terms of a medium of storytelling, it's extremely young.
Yep.
But the idea that Legend of the Galactic Heroes, from our perspective, is one of the
started
older
before
shows.
we were born.
Yeah. It started right around the time I was born, basically, like 1990 or something like that. So, yeah, it's just something that's kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, it is. But we have a new show.
We have a new show.
Oh boy,
one that we're rather excited for, and I'd say you're even more excited than me because you have foreknowledge.
I do, because it's a show that I have seen. It's a fantastic show, excellent show. And okay, there was a part of me that was always wondering, like, is this ever going to actually happen? When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Right? And now it's happened.
We will be reacting to Clannad.
Yep.
Yep. The whole show, all four cours of it.
Yeah, four
cours. There's very clearly
two
like
in the first season, and two in the second
two.
season. Yep.
Cool. Yeah.
Clannad and Clannad After Story.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to get into this. This is one of those shows that you hear plenty about online.
Yeah.
And that it's like got romance, it's got stuff you're gonna cry over, it's got stuff you're gonna laugh over, it's got like
it's pretty great.
Like just a whole smorgasbord of like romantic comedy, slice of life, like, drama, all that. And that just sounds wonderful.
I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you probably are fairly familiar with Clannad, but like a lot of people might not even know about Clannad anymore because it came out 15 years ago.
I mean, hey, if our channel does nothing but spread the good word of anime that people just haven't seen, then
hey, we're doing something right.
We're legends in our own minds. At the very least. That's all we needed to do. We don't need to change the world. We just basically like Oberstein. We're like take a blow out of our chest and be like, that's fine. And so they watch more anime.
See,
they did. Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking of like the two babies like reaching their hands to each other, and one is the new anime fan, and then the classic anime that they haven't seen yet, and we're just Reinhardt being like, yes, no, don't get in the way.
Yes. That's beautiful. But y'all. Right. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.